Alright, so it's been a little over a week since we initially got the Metroid Prime 4 Beyond trailer. And just like many other Metroid fans, I am extremely excited. Now, what I haven't done yet is done a trailer breakdown. I want to go frame by frame, basically talking about what I've observed in the trailer, what my takeaways are, and what I think might be coming in this game. So let's get into it. Something the game opens with, and I will be talking about this a lot, is it says Cosmic Year 20x9. Now here's what you need to know. According to Metroid Lore, and a lot of this lore isn't really unclear, a lot of it is heavily debated upon. But what most Metroid fans seem to agree upon is that the first Metroid game was in the year 20x5, and Super Metroid was in the year 20x7. If that is the case, this means that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond will be even after Super Metroid. And that has gigantic implications on the story. Because just in case you guys didn't know, the entire Metroid trilogy takes place chronologically in Metroid's storyline between Metroid 1 Zero Mission and Metroid 2 Return of Samus. Since Metroid Prime 4 Beyond takes place in 20x9, that means one of two things. Either the entire story of Beyond takes place after Super Metroid, or it means something else completely, which is time travel. At this specific location that Samus is at in this moment as the trailer is opening, she is in the future. Maybe she's even beyond Metroid Dread. And I actually think that this is the case. There's a lot of reasons for this. For one, there was a Metroid developer in the past that did talk about the team flirting with the idea of time travel. The other reason I believe that is simply for the title itself being Beyond. That isn't just a cool and catchy title, but looking at Metroid Prime history, you had Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, which had to do with the Echo Visor and the echoes of the dark and light world of Aether. Then you had Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, which had to do with the corruption of the Phazon, and the fact that Samus had to wear her PED suit to survive being corrupted herself, and becoming another version of Dark Samus. Each title in the last two Metroid Prime games have had something to do with the overarching gameplay of that installment. So Metroid Prime 4 Beyond really seems like it could be a take or a spin on going beyond the normal timeline. Even the logo itself looks like a black hole, and based on the snippet we see at the end, it looks like Samus might be coming out of a warp. I think there's a lot of evidence pointing to the fact that Samus might be jumping around time in this installment. And if that's the case, that is really exciting because that makes me think we could be seeing a lot of different things. Anything is possible. As many times as Ridley has come back and been resurrected, we could see him again because of time travel. We could see Kraid. We could even see Metroid Prime come back even after the destruction of Planet Phase. This would all be possible with time travel. And who knows, maybe that was ultimately Sylex's plan the entire time. But now I'm getting ahead of myself. We see Cosmic Year 20x9 Galactic Federation Research Facility. So Samus shows up in her iconic gunship. It has a different color palette, which might just have something to do with the lighting. And then obviously we see Samus come out of her ship. With her new sleeker look, she looks more feminine, she looks slimmed down, her neck is more visible. I really like the way she looks, although it was off-putting at first, I'm getting used to it. Shortly after she moves forward, she's encountered by space pirates. Pretty standard for the Metroid Prime games, and there is clearly some galactic warfare as it looks like the Galactic Federation is under attack. So we'll pause this here for a second, and a couple things we can observe with Samus's HUD. For one, we see the radar on the top left side of the screen, we see her map and her indicator on the top right side of the screen, which looks like it'll have the same map system as the first three Prime games, and we see her health located at the very top of the screen as well. What I did think is interesting is it looks like it's going to follow the same usual Metroid Prime mold. Samus is starting with 30 missiles, she has her various suit, she has her Morph Ball mode, and we can also tell that she has her Morph Ball bombs. Because of this, I do think this is the very beginning sequence of the game. Something may happen with her interaction with Sylex that causes her to lose all of her items, which is what usually happens, and it would probably be in a similar way to how it happened to Samus at the beginning of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. As we can see, scanning is back in the game, and I am extremely excited for this because scanning is a major part of the storytelling, of what adds richness to the lore, and it just gives us more information overall in general, which I love to see. The graphics, the gameplay, even the morph ball physics all look extremely similar to what we've known in the previous 3 games. She's in the middle of a battle with an ambush of space pirates, and this is all your typical Metroid Prime gameplay. Then it activates a cutscene, and we are reintroduced to Sylux. Again, most people aren't going to know who this guy is, but he is one of the bounty hunters who was in Metroid Prime Hunters, and he has made various appearances in other games. 2 of the more important details about Sylux. 1, we know that he hates Samus and he hates the Galactic Federation. He will be some type of a villain character in this game, but we do not know if he is the ultimate villain of the game. My theory is that he's going to be a little bit of an instrument of the main villain. He will be the guy orchestrating for whoever will end up being the final boss. At the end of Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, we do see Sylux's ship following Samus off into the distance, so he's clearly up to something. And then, at the end of Metroid Prime Federation Force, we do see Sylux steal an infant Metroid, as he's clearly planning some devious schemes. When he's reintroduced in Metroid Prime 4, it looks like there's a couple Metroids behind him. But a couple viewers in my last video did point out some vital information. These are not in fact Metroids, but they are Mocktroids. Mocktroids were seen in Super Metroid and in Metroid Prime Hunters' First Hunt. In the player's manual for Super Metroid for the SNES, Mocktroids were described as such. Mocktroids are the space pirates' first attempt at Metroid clones. These creatures, unlike the real Metroids, are easy to defeat. So immediately, what this tells us about this image with Sylux is that he and /or the space pirates have been working on cloning Metroids. Since this is in the year 20X9, it might be safe to assume that Metroids are in fact extinct, with the exception that Samus herself might be the last remaining Metroid thanks to the storyline of Metroid Dread and Metroid Fusion. Given the fact that Sylux did steal that infant Metroid in Federation Force, this makes sense. Then obviously we see Samus and Sylux have a stare down, as their rivalry is going to be a main storytelling aspect of this game, and then we see the beautiful logo that looks in fact like a black hole. After the logo fades to black, we see Samus coming out of what looks like a warp and stepping into a vast and lush world that almost looks similar to Talon Overworld. I don't think this is Talon Overworld. For one, it isn't raining like it was in Metroid Prime 1, and the big, utterly gigantic trees seem to give a unique perspective on a completely different world. It looks completely beautiful, and the music sounds exactly what you've come to expect from Metroid Prime games. For most fans, myself included, this was probably the most exciting image that we saw in this trailer. Nintendo tells us they're releasing it in 2025, and that's it. That's the end of the trailer. So my big takeaways are this looks fantastic. They've updated the graphics. Who knows whether or not it's actually being played on the Switch or on the Switch's successor, but at the very least, it looks like an honest-to-goodness sequel to Metroid Prime 3, as the graphics have improved, but the gameplay mechanics for the most part seems to be pretty much the same. Like I said before, there's a lot of things I'm starting to piece together, and a lot of the Metroid community are starting to piece together, that this game is either going to be way far into the future, stepping outside of the normal Metroid Prime timeline, or it is in fact involving time travel, which is what I believe, and to me, that's the most exciting possible outcome, because then we can start seeing a lot of familiar foes, a lot of familiar atmospheres, and see a Metroid game that seems like a thank you to the fan base, where we're almost revisiting spots throughout the Metroid saga overall. At the very least, that's my hope. So what do you guys think? What were your takeaways from the trailer, and what are you hoping to see in the game? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more Metroid and Zelda content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.